Good morning, everyone. You're doing well. Tuesday morning. Get our little camera set up here so I don't smash my head into it too much today. You know how that goes. Still looking for a system that's better than this, but I will keep looking. Alright, quite a few things to work on. I'm going to go turn the furnace off real quick here because it is super loud. Should turn off here momentarily. Should have some background music today. That should work. Alright. Quite a few things to do today. Keep ourselves busy. Self-advertisement. Always toot my own horn, but it is good to every once in a while let people know you at least have a horn on which you can toot if you need to. Alright, I'm going to move the camera here. I'm going to attempt to stop smacking it with my head. There we go. A little pop cap, blue sticky stuff here. Need these right now. To the side. We do need a microphone, so we'll get that out. That's an important thing to have if you want this to work. Hopefully it's loud enough to hear. Going here. Alright, so plans for the day. Got some basing we need to do. Got some corkboard for that. Some corkboard for some basing because we got this chunker that's going to need a base that's quite substantive, and I want him stepping off of a rock here, so he has 2 points of contact. So on his base, we're going to need to build up a little rock step for him to be standing on. Because the reason why is you could get away with doing it for plastic, but resin is considerably heavier than the printed plastic. So just having 1 point of contact is a little nervous, makes me a little nervous. His little ankle here would be holding a lot of weight anytime the model got shifted around. So we will try to do two and switch. Sorry, beginning of the streams, lots of administrative things that need to be sorted out. Buttons to click. Discords to warn, hey, I'm going to be on stream. So on and so forth. Alright, that's good. So that'll be one task you need to do this morning. This guy was going to go on this base, but it almost seems a little small now. So I printed this one, which it was originally an oval base, which is why that circle is an oval now. I stretched it for the printer, and I'm going to build it up a little bit, add some of this cover stuff that I don't need, like the little symbol here I'm not too keen on. So we'll cover that with stuff so that this guy will have a base to stand on. That's cool too. And it should match our theme here. So all of this side here will be this cool color in there, and then up here will be kind of rocky. Cool beans. So, I love this little thin cork board. I know you can when you go on Amazon and you're buying cork board, you can get the regular thick stuff, or this thin stuff actually comes in a gigantic roll. I bought it maybe a year and a half ago, and it's just going to last me for quite a while. But it allows you to build up thinner layers. It's not quite as obviously corkboard. I know if you see your fair share of models out there and bases, it's that standard height of corkboard is just super obvious when you see it. So I like to do something a little bit different so that it doesn't quite scream out, hey, that's corkboard underneath all of that stuff. Alright, I need one more layer. Let's do a big one. I need one more after that. Hope you can hear the music. It's not too loud. Go with that eye. Alright, that will do it. Measuring. I'll use these little ones in the fray here. Make it look natural. Not just the pedestal for its foot. We could bust out these rocks too if we wanted. Let's see. Got some battlefield rocks if we need them. A history video went up this morning. It's the funniest thing. There's a odd pattern whenever I post a video. It seems like anytime I post a video, within the first 30 seconds, somebody unsubscribes. I'm not upset about it. It's just funny to me. Like, I understand not everything is for everybody, and I definitely understand the psychology behind this focusing on one topic, but my brain doesn't work like that. And I would never be able to do a channel that's just one thing all of the time. So if that's the cost of that, then okay. But I don't know, there's something to be said for being a well-rounded person. I understand you want to curate your YouTube sub page to be just stuff you want to see. And that's fine. You do what you want. And you're going to sub or unsub, whatever you think is valuable to you. That's fine. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But I'm also going to do stuff that I want to do. And I think there's some benefit in being a well-rounded individual. Learn and watch many different things. fun part of basing, is it's all just eyeballing it, and you can have all sorts of happy little accidents when you're working with basing. Much of an exact science as other things. Kind of at an angle. Stick. Accelerator getting warm. A for exothermic chemical reactions. Who knew there was so much science in hobbying? Alright, did I go high enough? Let's find out. I had a plan and then we quickly abandoned the plan. Yep, that'll work. It'll work nicely. Let me know if the music's too loud or too soft. It's kind of a guesswork on my part until I get some feedback. I'm gonna see how long I can stream today. Just as a little experiment. See if I can make it to 2 hours. Usually I have to use the restroom after not too long. Getting old. Can't hold it as long. Sorry. How's it going, Steven? Happy Tuesday. How are those mechs coming along? Nice. What are you painting? Started work on the giant crab last night, but it's not quite ready for prime time here. Next to do 2 lances. So let's see, started the crab to kind of base coat and work on a kind of wintry camo for him. Probably take the supports off. Anyway, it's a start. I'm going to hit it with a white up top, so it'll be transition from black to the light grayish blue to white. That'd be cool. This is one of the many projects underway. Downloaded all of my no copyright music into a file, into a folder, and some of the wackier tunes made it. All right, so now that that is getting dry, a little rock here and some accelerator. We will hit it with our good friend red oxide paste. It's not going to be red, but it works. So basically, it's basing mud that's cheaper, a lot cheaper than the Citadel stuff, because you could go broke trying to base big stuff with the Citadel texture, and that doesn't count as a drink because I hit it with my hand instead of my head. So they're mechs from some of the Kickstarter boxes. Inner Sphere, I assume. Alright. We'll cover this in mud and let it dry because it'll take most of the day to dry once I get it on there. Inner Sphere Kickstarter stuff, good times. Let's hit this stuff. Bulk out the base, which is good because the model itself is resin, and the resin is a little heavier than plastic, and so having the base be substantive really matters, so it doesn't fall over and bust. Resin's a little bit more fragile than the plastic models. I don't know if you were here yet when I showed it, but this little guy is going to go on the base. This big guy is going to go on the base. It's about the size of an Armiger Knight, if you've seen some of that Warhammer stuff. But his pose is just on one leg. So I built the base up so that his second leg could be jumping off the rock, because I don't trust the ankle on it to hold very long. It's just up on one leg. This is like the fun, messy part that my kids would love. Dragon, awesome. Black and red, you gotta do black and red. That's the. I did mine. Those colors a while back. And that's just a fun star. With the clan mech thrown in there just for fun, just to wreck your meta. Is the music coming through, Steven? sizzling. OBS says it's working, but I don't know. It's not quite so rough when there's music playing. And I don't have to constantly be talking all the time, though. Oftentimes it's difficult to get me to shut up. But if you're watching this now or watching it later, definitely recommend the history video that went up this morning. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, because most people who have subbed to the channel are there for the hobby stuff, but it doesn't hurt to be a well-rounded individual who can learn something every once in a while that's not painting plastic. Definitely feeling the ache, because this is just about the time of the year where I'd be getting to the really exciting stuff in my classroom. So I'm having some of the feels. I miss it a little bit. I just told people it was a great job, as I got to go in and just play all day and talk about history and all the cool stuff that's happened, all the amazing stuff, sometimes the scary and sad stuff. But it was always interesting. With the Inca definitely in the wrong place, the wrong time, and the wrong moment. Just tidal wave of bad things happening, and to undo all of their work to build this civilization. History is not kind. History is not fair. That's for sure. Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it. It's just the way my brain works. I can't just do one thing. If I tried to focus the channel and just do Battletech, or just do Warhammer, or just do history stuff, the channel will probably be doing better, because I lose a sub pretty much anytime I do anything different, but or more. But I would be quickly very bored, and it wouldn't work. I'd have to do something else. Absorb the sub loss, and take it on the chin, and not take it personally. I know some people curate their YouTube feeds like they're like precious real estate. Every single box matters. If you ever see anything that you don't like, then off you go. I understand. I'm not going to take it personally. Rough it up a little bit. You can do this for Battletech bases too. This is just to add some texture. Nature doesn't do flat, perfectly flat things very often. I'm sorry if that comes off as being hard on myself. I kind of pride myself on being positive. If bad things happen, and you roll with the punches and you keep going. It's a grind like anything else. I taught for a very long time before I got to do the things I actually really wanted to teach. It was nearly, I think I taught for 8 years before I got to move over to history and teach history. So if I could do that for 8 years, teach math and teach computer programming, teach intro to engineering, if I could do that for 8 years, then I can do this. I can do this. This is not a problem. Alright, so that's good. I think I could sprinkle a little sand on there to make it gritty. Let's do that. Now we are our own toughest critics. That's a universal truth. Watch for that. You're right. Alright, so add a little sand that'll hopefully stick. If it isn't, then I'll hit it with, spray it with some PVA and make sure it's glued down. Alright, we'll set this to the side. It'll be dry by tonight. It's always easy to look at the downsides of things and the bad sides of things, but looking back the last month, I'm up 100 subs roughly in the past month. I ended up being like 98 subs in the past month. That's more than any previous month before. So something I'm doing is working, and it seems to be accelerating. So I'm looking at the bright side and being positive. Alright, so we got this little guy that I started doing last time. We're going to change reds. I'm going to do magenta. Where's the red? But the Pro Acryl red I am just in love with. As soon as I find it. There we go. Bold Pyrrole red. I'm going to switch over this, so I'm going to go back over the base coat red here. Oops, pour water all over myself. That's what you're here for. It's got all cyberpunk in here. Chill out. The wet palette's great, except for if you don't use it for a day or two, all that water condenses in the lid. Stick your finger in the paint. You'll spill it all over yourself. Alright, let's try some of this new red and see how it matches up. I wonder how close it's going to be to Mephisto here. We'll see. That's what I'm mixing it up. Oh, alright. Let's drop it in a wet spot. It's going to be spread. Alright, brush, brush, brush. Let's try it on the wing, and we'll see how close the colors are. Quite a bit bolder. So a lighter red, and that's okay. We'll just make it match the drones. It needed a second coat anyway, so. Yeah, definitely in love with the Pro Acryl stuff. That there, so it's in camera. Old red. I'll probably have to go over a third coat because you can see the Mephi spin through it. But that's okay. But nothing as bad as the gameplay video I posted with the Final Fantasy Tactics like game. It was kind of a pixel art game. I posted that, and then within about 30 minutes, I lost 3 subs. That was crazy. Like, oh God, what did I do? Oh well. Okay, lesson learned. Don't like that. There's do what I want, and then there's, oh God, stop the hemorrhaging. They like what they like. They don't like what they don't like. We'll definitely need another coat after this. The Mephiston still shows through. That's okay. I was thinking about using the gloss clear coat on the top of the red to make it kind of like a race car cherry red. Let's see. Make your mecha super fast if it's painted red with glossy cherry coat. That's just science. looking forward to the new PiperMakes stuff. Should come out on the 3rd, a couple of days from now, which will be infantry models, which look really cool. I'm looking forward to that. You may switch over from the Eternal Dynasty stuff that OnePageRules is putting out, and just focus on the kind of mecha soldiers for this robot army. Cat hair. There's always one cat hair hidden in every model. At least one. Okay, that was a thing that happened. Hopefully we're still up and running. Doing okay. OBS like hiccuped. Lost connection. But internet looks fine. Hopefully it's back. And I really am just talking to myself. Huh. Get downward spiral. Who doesn't love it? Still running. YouTube is very little help in letting you know if the stream is still running. You got a green light, but that is almost entirely meaningless. That's when you start answering back that you have to worry. It was, oh gosh, what was some movie where somebody points out you talk to your gun? I talk to my gun, not with it. So when your gun answers back, then you know you have a problem. Reference that was. Having an imaginary friend's fine, but when the imaginary friend starts talking to you back and starts telling you what to do, that's when you need to rein it in. Rein it in. neighbor's dog starts giving you instructions. And you got a problem. People have asked me if you've got a plan for the mecha stuff. Are you going to do Tau proxy armies? Like, I have no idea. I just like painting them. They're just fun to print and paint. I don't have a plan. I have some Tau stuff. I got the start collecting and a couple of the broadside, I think was its name. But the playstyle of the army is not for me, where it's like pure shooty and you just get wrecked up close. My one real world buddy who has an army runs Death Guard, and all he does is just he absorbs most of the fire and gets in close, and it's over. So I just couldn't kill them back. Couldn't kill the units fast enough. Maybe it's different now. That was early on in 8th edition, but that was painful. Switch to a smaller brush here. Red. So you can see the difference between the reds there. The Mephiston's significantly darker there on the jetpack. Red boots. Good morning, Broken. How are we doing today? Just painting up some mecha here. This is the commander unit from PiperMakes. Doing some red base coating, making it look awesome. Little red race car mech. Cool jump pack. Get there eventually. One little red part at a time. Otherwise, a pretty laid back Tuesday, hopefully. Finally got the kids all back to school after their brush with COVID. Everybody in the house is back to normal. Well, normal being a relative term. Moving forward. Interesting day. If you do have a chance to see that Inca video, it's really cool. The hardest part about doing the Inca video is sorting out what to cram into the 10 minutes, because I try to limit it to just 10 minutes because most people don't watch more than 5. I try to get the best, coolest stuff in there in the 10 minutes, and so much more stuff is out there that is worth knowing about the Inca. It's just a really cool civ. Whenever you have a society that forms largely in isolation, you have those kind of unique characteristics that make it fascinating. Always really like doing the Americas unit. Ancient Americas unit. It's kind of strange, at least around here, the 6th grade roadmap didn't include it, or really any ancient America stuff. And so kids were leaving their 6th grade year under like the false impression that there were no early ancient civs in the Americas, which just seemed kind of odd, because you would expect, hey, you're living in the United States, you should know about the Mississippians who were here and created something epic. That just gets, it's tough because you have just a limited amount of time with the kids each year, and so you try to hit everything you can. So I always tried to make time for that. I had kind of a reputation amongst the history teachers for going super fast through units, but all I really did was not spend a ton of time on kind of cutesy projects. And then there's definitely a place for projects and that kind of stuff where you're allowing kids to really do a deep dive. But when it's a survey course and they're in 6th grade, really there's not much deep diving going on anyway, because you're just giving them the resources, and then they're creating the project using the resources you've given them. How's it going, Terminally? What are you playing these days? Are you still playing, what was that game on the PS4? Persona? I watched your playthroughs on those a few times. It's interesting stuff. You know I dig your content. Yeah, a little race car red, never hurt anybody. Makes the mech go faster. It's just basic science. upper layers. I think I definitely will hit it with a gloss clear coat when I'm done. That'll make it look like a cherry red race car. It will look cool. Down the road. Definitely more than just a Space Marine. It's going to take a little time. So game-wise, playing a lot of MechWarrior 5. I am playing that tactical RPG that I got that had such a disastrous Let's Play. Haven't been taking video of it just because I don't want a repeat of last time. But it is a fun game. I like the Final Fantasy Tactics type games where with lots and lots of jobs, because I don't like being pushed into one job. Happiest I ever was with an MMO was with the original Final Fantasy Online, where I'm aware you can do it too in Final Fantasy 14, though I haven't played it since they revamped it after its rough launch originally. But being able to switch jobs on the fly was one of my favorite things in the game, just because I kind of ADHD type play style with MMOs, where I would play a class for a while and then get bored with it and have to re-roll and start a new character. It's the same way in like Diablo 3, where I completely maxed out the character slots, starting new characters all the time, even the same class, just building it in a different way and not wanting to lose the setup I have, so I start up a new character. Yeah. Serial re-roller, I guess would be the term. Streaming. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I love that red-brown. I show it on stream. One of my favorite primer colors, just for a good general base coat for all sorts of different colors. You can go darker with it, you can even go lighter with it. With the if you're going to do red on a mech or a model, the red-brown is a good base for it, because then the red comes through. Pretty cool. Yeah, that, white, and black are the three primer colors I use. Haven't had much need for anything else. Nope. And with the Mech 5, my progression in MechWarrior 5 has just been a Keystone Cops series of misadventures. It's like, if there was an optimal way of going through the game, I have definitely not done it. So I completely forgot about the Federated Commonwealth getting together. And apparently the game, you get to keep your reputation with a specific house. I was working it up with the Steiners, but then once the merger happens, your Steiner reputation doesn't matter, because all the missions operate under the new FedCom designation. So you're back to square one with neutral with them. And so I wanted to do something new, so we headed down to Merrick Space and desperately trying to rebuild reputation with them. They are a little hesitant to be friendly since I've blown up so many of their mechs. Don't know why. Just let bygones be bygones. Right? I'm just sure I've killed lots of your mech warriors, but it's water under the bridge. A little aggression between friends. It's alright. Get over it. Don't need to hold a grudge. In there between the jetpacks and a thin line is something most people will never see. I'm going to paint it anyway because I'll know it's there. Lots of red today. So we're going to do the other side. That's going to be fun. Thank you. Handsome. Good to see you. Nice turnout today. Not too shabby. What are we working on today? But I know Steven's working on some mechs. What are the rest of you guys up to? There's a little piece of dried paint on here. What do you do? Get off my brush. Why did the music stop? We'll never know. Oh. How fragile is resin? Sometimes very fragile. That's okay. We'll glue it back. It's actually a piece that's broken off before, so. So I brought it upstairs to take a picture of it and dropped it. So it broke the leg and broke the couple of the tail fins off. But it's okay. That's what super glue is for. Talking about Final Fantasy XIV as a maybe game. Somebody on Twitter was trying to get me to try it out. I don't know. It's a little worried that everything else would slow down if I get too wrapped up in an MMO. I don't trust myself to keep moving forward on all the projects if I'm just playing Final Fantasy. I don't want to do it all day. It's not quite at the point where I want to be playing video games all day long, and it doesn't feel like it's working towards something with the channel. So. But it has been tempting. Because it also has the class switch thing that the previous Final Fantasy had. Be a red mage again. Maybe I just have something with the color red. Interesting correlation there. Hades original soundtrack. I'll have to look that up. A little tricky with streaming because you just get copyright pulled for everything, every little thing. So I'm currently playing a list of music that I bought that has no copyright claims on it. It's the only thing that doesn't get me copyright claimed on YouTube videos. Has some okay music in it. It's at least passable. There were some streams on Spotify that claim to be copyright free, but when I tried that out, they hit the videos with the claims anyway. So that didn't quite work out. Which I think is almost like a almost like they're trying to trick you so they can pull claims on your music. You think you're getting away with it, with not having to worry about it. I'm gonna have to hit that with Chrome. Occasionally when you make a mistake like that, you can get in there with the wet brush and get the paint out, but it's too far gone here. I'll have to hit it with the Chrome. Oh well. That's nonsense. Really looking forward to the PiperMakes stuff from this month because they're infantry. So I'm looking forward to this style of figure on a infantryman scale. Should be quite cool. Because one thing she does is offer just tons of options. So you're sure you get one file, one unit, but you get dozens of options for that unit. And so you could just keep printing it out and make them however you want. Then if you've got the other files, even mixing and matching stuff, like with the little drone I did with the missiles. That missile pack is not from the drone set, but I wanted to have a drone who had missiles. So it got missiles. Alright, come along here. That needs another coat. Gradually getting these panels colored in. Our little rocket red race car robot. That's a lot of R's. Rocket red race car robot. But yeah, I guess that's a running theme for things I like, being given options. Options in video games, options in 3D printing. Don't give me monopose figures. I don't want that. Just one print, one and done. Boring. Why even have the file at that point? Son's first day of choir today. It's a new semester. I won't embarrass him, but interesting because he doesn't seem like he'd be the singing type. I think there might be other motivations. Going through old pictures yesterday and came across one of the few times that my youngest child fell asleep on the floor. And I've seen it happen lots of different times with other people's children where they just get so tired they pass out on the floor and just sleep for an hour and a half. But our kids never really did that. They didn't like napping. They never really fell asleep anywhere but in their bed. I found this one picture of the little guy conked out on the floor, and good old seven-year-old reasoning. He felt kind of embarrassed, like it was like a failing that he had fallen asleep on the floor. So he was like, "Dad, you know, sometimes I pretend to be tired. And so I wasn't really asleep. when you took that picture. I'm like, dude, you were laying on the floor, face down on the carpet for an hour and a half. You know you're trying to save face, but this is the silliest reason. It's not a personal affront to your honor that you fell asleep on the floor. It's okay. So much bravado for a 7-year-old. Hey, how's it going? Awesome. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the pro-acral stuff. I am a convert. I, of course, ranted and raved about the titanium white before, but it was the only pro-acral stuff I had, and so maybe I'd assumed it was kind of an outlier. Just the white was particularly good. That's then picked up on a lark. Decided to get the base set, which comes with quite a few focus camera. Quite a few solid colors, and everyone I've tested so far has been really good coverage, good intensity on the pigment, so great coverage. Yeah, definitely a big fan of pro-acral. I'll probably end up picking up the second set. That's the, I don't know if what they call it because I haven't seen it, but lately, like whatever the expansion colors were, it's another set of 24. So I'll probably end up picking that up at some point once I find the quarters to rub together. Definitely on a budget lately. Big shift when you go from 2 incomes down to 1. Might have to shave before my doctor's appointment tomorrow. Getting a little woolly. Nothing quite as humbling as seeing yourself on webcam. Alright, let's glue this foot back on. That's embarrassing. Get your foot back on. Come on, man. Get a hold of yourself. So embarrassing. Get all dressed up, ready to go, and then your foot falls off. Story as old as time. All right. Making some progress, not too shabby. Back to 2 legs. Alright, definitely want to do the ends of the fins. something on the sword. Still have to go in and do give it a wash, which will fill in all these little divots. Give it some depth. That's the next stage, once we get the base coats on. The cat outside hitting the door. I know you're streaming in there. I know you're streaming. Let me in. What it is about animals and their owners streaming. Maybe they just hear them talking and they want to participate in the conversation somehow. The other cat won't even venture downstairs. She's like so traumatized by the construction experience that she won't come down here. Doesn't like people. The 8-bit music's on. You're playing classic Nintendo again. It's like underappreciated good times. Those days, those afternoons you played Nintendo without many cares in the world. I remember playing Ice Climber with my sister. Getting really angry at each other when something didn't go right. Why didn't you jump up here? Why didn't you do it? Good old sibling rivalry. Why aren't you better at this game? It's the downside of being just about a year apart. Lots of competition. Alright, that looks good. Coming along. I think we can do the ends of this sword. It'll be like a power sword once I get all those nitty bitty grits in there. Red in there. Let's do this red. I'll set it apart from the little power conduit thing. Yeah, being able to go that good a red right over chrome, that's a good testament to the pigment of this red. Otherwise it would really show through. It's pretty good after 2 coats. over the Mephiston red, it was a little, it was more obvious. So the Mephiston's a darker, much darker red. This is much more like a cherry race car red, which I am perfectly fine with. Fits the goal for the army. Cherry red race car robots. Legend of Zelda for life. Got a good buddy who has lots of Legend of Zelda stuff. He's definitely a fan of the series. He's got the big old sword and shield on the wall in his living room. So whenever we go over there, my kids are like, "Can we get the sword down and play with it?" No, I'm not handing you a sword. Sorry. An actual metal sword. Stick to Nerf swords. Thanks. There's that old comic with the skeleton dressed as Santa, and he gives the little girl a sword, and the parents are very concerned about, oh, what if she hurts herself with the sword? And the skeleton says, well, that'll be a very valuable lesson if she does. I guess there's a argument there. I did read at a fellow who's a parenting guru, I guess. I'm not sure what you would call him, but he advocated give your kids a pocket knife, and you teach them how to use it and to take care of it and treat it with respect, and your kid has a pocket knife, which I could definitely see the point. Like, I had sharp things as a kid too. Like, my grandfather gave me his pocket knife, and I cut myself with it and learned a valuable lesson from that. So I guess he's got a point. Maybe coddle kids a little bit too much. It's a slightly different world, though. Exactly a world where you can just kick your kids out and say, go play for 8 hours and I'll see you when the sun goes down. Can't quite get away with that these days. Should have probably eaten something before I started this. Oops. He can make it to 2 hours without starving to death, right? I probably have a few pounds I can get rid of. I'm not going to starve to death. I'm going to hit the tips of these wings with the black, like I did with the drones. So even though this is a darker red, and I'm just going to have to live with that, we will hit the wings with the black, so they'll at least look similar. But plans change as far as color schemes go sometimes. if I print out new drones, which I probably will because they're so adorable. I'll just do them in the new scheme. And those other ones can be a test case, test paint. Barely see the scar. That is the kind of thing that we did. You know, my brother and I got into all sorts of trouble with really crazy, stupid stuff. And then probably the craziest thing that my brother ever got caught doing was he had a smoke grenade. He went to a military surplus store and got an actual smoke grenade, and had it sitting on a shelf for a few weeks. We were trying to decide how he was going to use it. Various plans included finding a car with an open window that would fill the car with smoke, and probably end up ruining the car. That's probably a good thing we didn't do that. But eventually our father was in his room and noticed, hey, what is this? And confiscated it and took it. But, you know, all sorts of crazy stuff. Is this a display piece for an army? It's, I don't really know what it is. It's the commander model from PiperMakes, and she makes proxy models for Tau. I don't see myself ever playing a Tau army, but I do love the models. So I'm going to sneeze. Oof. Sneezy. Alright. But I am going to... I love painting the models. Just the aesthetic, the mecha kind of look to them, I really like. So I'm just going to have an army of things that look like Tau, and with no real intention of ever really playing Tau, and that's okay. I just think they look cool. So they'll look good on a shelf, and if my kids want to play with them someday, that's fine. This foot had a misprint. It's kind of hard to see, but had a misprint. But it'll survive. It's a little battle damage. But yeah, it'll look cool on the shelf. This was a test. This was the test model, the first one that I did. So you can kind of see the variation. So this was a single model release. That was January's model release for PiperMakes. But there's so many different variations for parts, it looks like a completely different unit. So, pretty cool. And this has the UV. I wonder what the UV look like under the webcam. Let's try it. Let's get into some trouble. Make it glow. Making it glow. That kind of works. It's so bright. Let's turn this off for a sec. There we go. Much more glowy. So that's the Scale 75 FX fluorescent paint in action. It's pretty neat. Blind myself with a UV light. And I'm blind. Cool models. Really, really digging her stuff. So definitely feels like money well spent there. I'd much rather spend the $10 for a model that I can print out just tons and tons of copies with all the different variations than spend $50 on a box of models from a certain major model producer that doesn't have as many variations, and that's it. You just get those 10 units and then you're done. Not quite so bright. Alright, I think I need a break from the red. Let's put him up here for a minute. Let's work on his base. Burnt out on painting red after a while. Alright, so we're going to add some stuff to this base. So this base was done by OnePageRules. It didn't come out perfect, but again, it's not crucial to me that it looked flawless there, because I can fix it a little bit. But it was originally an oval base that I scaled up to be round, and so you can kind of see how it's a little warped there, but I'm going to cover all of this up with stuff. But all I really wanted was the metal underneath. So we'll... What did I do with that? There we go. Do a little bit of basing here. Rocks, get some more stuff. Need some rebar. Can use some resin supports for rebar. That'll be cool. Get a little creative here. Yeah, finish the stream up doing that. All right. Clippers. All right. First of all, let's. Sticking out like that. Get creative with base here. This will all get covered in the stuff. Don't care about it being visible. So some quick set on there. Bulk this up a bit. One thing I'm really looking forward to is the Tyranids. Like, if they can get a range refresh soon, well, it certainly looks like they might be getting something at least with their new codex, if it kind of fits the pattern with the other factions up to this point in 9th edition, and kind of get a new character or something. It would be really nice to get some more Tyranid units that are newer, because I've always wanted a Tyranid army, but I don't want to buy models that are 25 years old. They need an update badly. I'm glad that the Eldari got theirs. At least a little bit of an update on some of their stuff. Xenos needs some love too. Don't need quite as many Space Marine things. I'm going to clip these off so they're not quite so long, but in general look will work. So the supports off of the 3D prints are quite useful for looking like rebar. Quite handy. Make sure you UV cure the supports and don't use them raw. It's not good to touch the un-UV cured resin. These are long, I will cut them off. But yeah, the supports that even have the 3 prongs on them look really cool, like they're metal gantry supports. Pretty cool. Nice when you cut things with your sprue and they just explode like they're fired out of a gun. Alright, that looks good. Alright, let's hit it with some paste and call it good. I don't think we need any of those rocks. There. Nice big hobby desk, but only really have about 2 square feet of workspace because everything else is covered in paints and other stuff. useful tool. I haven't seen one of these before. It's got a little wedge on one side, a little paddle on one side, and a little scooper on the other. It's good for all sorts of stuff. I've seen a couple of hobbyists use dental tools for sculpting. Wow, that's pretty impressive. I'm not good enough for that. But I really like the idea that I can 3D print a base and then customize it and make it my own. I guess this is the base version of kit bashing, right? Make the base unique. Basing version. It'll work. I really like basing just because it's a lot more freeform. Just kind of do what looks good. And it doesn't matter if it's super neat and perfect. Because worst case scenario, you can always scrape it off and try again. And nothing's ever so far gone, you can't fix it. So we have ourselves a techie base with some rockery on it and some rebar. It'll be fun to paint. Get it primed tonight. Check it out. That's good. That's gonna go sit that's gonna sit next to the larger one we also did today. So I'll go with that. Extra rebar. Alright, I know I was going to try to make it 2 hours. We got 10 minutes shy, but I am wiped. I need a break. I have not eaten anything yet today, and it's getting towards lunchtime, so I need to consume something. Thank you for coming out and saying hi. Probably the best stream I've done in a while, performance-wise here. Appreciate it, as always. Be awesome. Take care. Be productive today. Make the world a slightly better place today and tomorrow. See ya.